And just like that, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to
Hello.
Andrew's Wizardly Reads. And today we are talking a little bit about Doctor Who, my good friend Zach, the Storytelling Dragon, who has just started his channel, which I have linked in the description box down below if you want to check out what he's about. He's actually getting ready to release some Doctor Who content as well. But Zach, why don't you want to tell people what you're about?
Yeah, I am Zach, the Storytelling Dragon. It takes a lot of magic to come in human form, but for you, Andrew, I will always do that for you. And I just have a small YouTube channel right now that's just about all the stuff that I like. That's about Doctor Who, One Piece. I'm not going to pick them all up, but I have all 4 box sets of One Piece back there. I got my complete collection of Calvin and Hobbes and Neil Gaiman in the back there. I think in the couple videos I'm going to make a background and show you guys all of that. And and I'm just enjoying the booktube journey as we go. Hopefully we'll get all the computer issues fixed as we go. But I'm loving it. And hopefully my computer will forgive me enough and I can, figure out what dark ritual I need to do to get it to keep working, and we'll be good to go.
So I will let you kick this off. How did you first kind of get into Doctor Who?
Well, I definitely remember, I remember starting, not everyone will say this, but I honestly remember starting with Paul McGann's TV movie in the 90s.
Nice. You're old school.
Well, semi-old school. I mean, that bridge between classic and new. And then years later, Paul the 2005 came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was the New Year's movie that I would see on occasion, and and ever since then, ever since Christopher Eccleston, I have loved it ever since. And then I went all the way back, found Paul McGann, devoured the Big Finish audios, and so on and so forth. And if we have to pick a new Who, Doctor Who, it would definitely be 11, Matt Smith's. Therefore, that's why I got this one.
We'll get into it.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it. Okay, sure.
So how I got into Doctor Who was a little, it was roundabout. Because I have a memory of seeing Eccleston on the TV when it relaunched, and I didn't have any interest. My mom was like watching it, and I walked away because my uncle was big into Doctor Who, so she was watching it because her brother used to watch it. And it wasn't until years later when I was sitting down and my mom was watching Matt Smith, and I asked her what she was watching. She's like, "Oh, this is Doctor Who," and I looked at it, and I was like, that's a different actor than who was on the TV last time. And she was like, yep, it's a whole thing. And I was just like, well, now I'm curious. So it was actually the concept of regeneration that pulled me into the fandom. And I sat down, and I believe it was Time of the Angels, or the 2-part Matt Smith one in his first season, series 5.
Oh,
and
River. Yeah.
I went back and I watched 11th Hour, and I caught up on Matt Smith. And then I realized how much more there was behind it. So then I went back and I watched all of the modern Who. And from modern Who, once I was out of the house and stuff like that, it's a struggle here in the States to watch classic. At least it used to be. Now you've got BritBox and stuff like that.
I go into that in my videos. It's a real pain now, especially with the lawsuit that's happening with the Unearthly Child. And
yeah, I've got it physically, like so doesn't affect me at all.
Good for you. You have to go through some VPN magic to get it right now through the iPlayer. But yeah.
Yep. If you want to watch the majority of classic Who, all you have to do is get a BritBox subscription, and it's all there.
Nope. It got taken down, and now it's on the Whoniverse on BBC iPlayer.
The classic stuff?
Yep.
Oh, yep. Okay.
But they don't have the Unearthly Child right now because of the whole lawsuit. So, yep.
But I've watched, I would say, of everything that's available, I think I've watched 98% of the classic stuff. And then, of course, once I watched all of that, I was left bereft during the long periods of Capaldi and Whitaker when they weren't doing back-to-back seasons.
Yeah.
I got into Big Finish once I realized that was a thing. And then I went down the 8th Doctor rabbit hole, and here I am.
Yeah, it's almost like a whole other, like Tom Baker, who's the fourth Doctor. He now has almost even more classic Doctor audio stories than his TV stories. So
there's a ton of
it's
them.
amazing how much the audio adds up overall, and just how much it expands the media.
If only I had enough time to listen to it all.
Oh yeah,
I was doing a good job. I got up to about 2017 on the monthly adventures before I got pulled into BookTube, and once that happened, like most of my Big Finish time just down the drain. But I love Big Finish.
I'm gonna try to integrate it into my BookTube so that I don't have to give
it up.
But that's going to be the goal. I'm going to do like a weekly Big Finish, or have it part of my weekly report videos of like, here's what I've been doing, and it's One Piece and Big Finish and book stuff, and we'll do all of that. So that's kind of like what John's doing, and with Talking Story, and I love Big Finish. I went through. I kind of pick and choose doctors, but like lots of times I'm in a 7th Doctor mood, sometimes I'm in a 6th Doctor mood, and all that stuff. Family being family.
Sorry, there's some glass that just broke in my house, so I got a little distracted.
No.
Back on track. Who is your favorite classic Doctor?
Because I'm so nostalgic, I'm the weird one that likes Paul McGann the most probably, the 8th. So he's the shortest and longest Doctor, as he likes to call himself, or back in the day. So yeah.
Let's differentiate then. Who's your favorite classic on screen?
On screen, okay. I would say, I won't, everyone wants to say Tom Baker, but I'm going to have to just go with Sylvester McCoy and Ace. I like that combination.
Really? See, I'm a Patrick Troughton, James McCrimmon kind of guy.
And I like Patrick Troughton as my second with Jamie and stuff. Yeah. I love that. But the issue is that a lot of the content is missing, or, you need to have you need to do the audio production videos or what have you, but yeah.
So it's funny because the audio recordings of the missing adventures still exist, and people have or the BBC at least has gone back after tragically getting rid of all of the episodes from the 60s and 70s, and then having to try and hunt them back down, has started reanimating them using those audio tracks of fan recordings of people who just recorded the episodes so they could listen to them again. Because back in the day, Doctor Who's been going on for 60 years now. It was one and done. You might be lucky to see an episode air 3 times.
Yeah, who needs reruns?
Yeah, who needs reruns? Who needs to experience the adventure more than once?
Yeah. But and I say this in my what's probably going to be like a 3-part video, but I mentioned the Adventure in Space and Time biopic that came out, that kind of is a love letter, and it has whoever plays Filch in Harry Potter. He plays William Hartnell, and
I can never remember his name.
Yeah, but I think it's just a wonderful love letter to Doctor Who, and it's fantastic.
No, I agree. I've watched that one at least a couple times. But no, for me, I'm gonna go Patrick Troughton. I do like all of them, all of the classics that I like. I would say Hartnell, the 6th. Those are the only ones that really don't work for me. But my favorite audio is the 6th.
Yes, I agree. Yep, 6 and 8 are fantastic. And if you look into the story of Colin, he got a raw deal, with how that all went about. And it, basically it boils down to a bunch of studio politics and and handovers and people getting tired of Doctor Who. But Colin Baker himself is just such a sweetheart, I find, and really nice to the fans. And yeah, so because of that, I wanted to like Colin Baker. So I forced myself to start liking that rainbow throw up on a jacket. But
it got changed, at least in the audios. It got changed to like a blue. It's the same pattern.
There's an era of blue. Yep.
Yeah, it's an era where it's blue instead of the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah. But they do those fan videos, and I still love that. They actually have Colin Baker with the Technicolor Dreamcoat song, and then they have the hobo song for Patrick Troughton, and I love that. You know
what, like excuse me, they always kind of said he was like a cosmic hobo, which of course isn't politically correct anymore, but that's what they called him. I never, like, he looked a little ruffled and stuff like that, but overall I never got it. Like, I was just like, he looks fine. He doesn't look like what I would consider hobo-ish in the 60s. Like, I was just like, no, he looks great. I didn't understand it. I don't know why they called him that. But
yeah, I don't know. But the song is just stuck in my head that with the whole cosmic thing. But yeah, it just works. Patrick Troughton, I agree, he should be one of your favorites, because if it wasn't for him, we would not have Regeneration or anything like that. Yeah. So
initially he didn't even want the role. He thought it was weird.
That makes sense.
He was just like, why are we recasting this main lead? Like, how does this work? It wasn't until the 3rd to the 4th that it got named Regeneration.
Yep, 3rd. Yep, it was. Yep, that's when.
Or no, I think it's the 4th to the 5th that it's Regeneration, and the 3rd to the 4th it's a Rejuvenation. Or was that
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, 3rd to 4th it's a Rejuvenation, and then from 4th to 5th it was Regeneration. I think that's correct.
Yeah, it's one of those. It gets wishy-washy, but yeah, I have a soft spot for Patrick Troughton. Tomb of the Cybermen is one of my favorites.
It's so good.
Yes, and just yeah, you got to get used to yes, the Cybermen are basically popping through bubble wrap, or something like that. But it's classic, storytelling, and it's just great.
One of my favorite eras, though, of classic Doctor Who is, of course, Jon Pertwee. And that's because it does a complete change-up. You get Lethbridge Stewart, you get Unit, like you get Elizabeth Sladen with Sarah Jane Smith. Like that, those are some of my favorite years. And I know Sarah continues on with the 4th Doctor. But, like, that just initial, like, because he's the most physical of the Doctors. He does the Venusian Aikido. And stuff like, or is it Aikido? I don't remember.
Yeah, and then he also does reverse the time space polarity, or
reverse the polarity.
Yeah,
which has continued throughout the series. They still use that catchphrase sometimes.
Yeah, and while Patrick Troughton did introduce the sonic screwdriver, I believe it was Patrick.
It was literally a pencil. It was just a pencil type of deal that was a screwdriver. Like the first time he introduces it, I believe is in the War Games. And he just holds it over a screw and it sonically unscrews it. Like it is, in fact, a screwdriver.
Yes.
And then it was the electronic door handle. Yeah, Pertwee called it a door handle.
That's fun. Yeah, I love units. I think they're fantastic. I love it when they kind of bring the stuff together. Like I liked when the 7th Doctor kind of had his little reunion with Lethbridge Stewart, and they got the 3rd Doctor's buggy.
Bessie.
What's Bessie? Yes. Yeah. It's great. I love Yeah, I love that whole thing. Yep.
So what do you love about Doctor Who?
Oh, just the storylines and just just the adventure of just of this person that's going around the cosmos and doing small to big tasks throughout the universe, um and just being the Doctor. And I not everybody likes it when like you got like the new Doctor Who where it's like good man goes to war and he's like this big cosmic hero. Some people just like it when he's just the person passing through and just doing little things. But I I love all flavors of the Doctor. I find, with the exception of maybe William Hartnell. He's a little bit, but I respect it, but he's not for me. But second to 15, I love it all. You still here, buddy?
Sorry, my internet went down for a hot second. I am back. Can you hear me?
Where did we leave off? Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, and I thought I would have been the one with computer issues today, but
yeah, no. It's been a chaos today in the Wizard House.
Yeah, no, me too. I feel you. I try to get my sonic screwdriver to fix it for me, but doesn't do it for me. I don't have to touch it as a doctor, but yeah, I think
we were talking about what you like about Doctor Who.
Yeah, so then just basically I just love the Doctor being the Doctor, and just going back and forth through the cosmos. And some people don't like it when he is like this big hero, like in Good Man Goes to War and stuff like that. But I like all flavors of the Doctor except for maybe William Hartnell. I respect it, but I just get tired of the grumpy, gruff person. But Patrick Troughton to 15 is all my favorite types of Doctor.
Fair enough. Nancy wants to, of course, know why I love Doctor Who. And the reason that I love Doctor Who, it is, I feel, the perfect blend of sci-fi and fantasy. It also does these great analyzation of ideas and theme that I don't think another show has really captured successfully the way that it does. We get to see this constant sense of rejuvenation, not only with the show, but with the actors, with the directors, the showrunners. It can always be refreshed. And I love that. I also love the idea of bigger on the inside with the TARDIS. I love the idea of time travel. I love the idea of adventure, of morality, of right and wrong, of helping those in need. I love all of that. The Doctor, no matter what personality or visage he is wearing, is always ready to be the Doctor. Even if, say, we're talking about the War Doctor, that the Doctor doesn't believe it himself anymore, he is still deep down the Doctor. And I love everything that goes into that. It is so incredibly good. It's unlike anything that I think is out there. It's something truly special, and we constantly get these new characters to fall in love with. We get new actors portraying the role. We get fresh takes, new personalities, new aliens, new worlds, new time periods. It's all there to explore. I mean, whether it's mythical or real history, whether it's Rosa Parks in the civil rights movement, or it's we're going back to the caveman and unearthly child and the invention and discovery of fire. It's all there. And I love it. I love everything about it.
Ditto. Much better said than me.
It's fine. You did great.
Sure.
Mr. Papadopoulos. I prefer Inspector Space Time. Basically the same thing.
Yeah, basically.
Now, in the new era, though, when the relaunch of 2005 coming forward, and I know they're saying that the latest series isn't New Who anymore. My brain doesn't work like that. Like I can't process
It's
a
Neo
third
Who.
era of Doctor Who. If I'm gonna
Yeah.
do a third era of Doctor Who, it's gonna be called Disney Who.
Fair enough.
And so we're gonna all lump it together. We're gonna quantify it as New Who. Favorite Doctor, favorite companion, favorite mashup, favorite adventures. What is it for you? Because for me, I fell in love with Matt Smith.
Same. Yep. Same. He's the Patrick Troughton of the new era.
Yeah, no, definitely. If the first series hadn't been so rocky, like when Christopher Eccleston left, I was heartbroken. When I went back and I started watching and realized he only had one series, I was like, what? We only get one series with this guy? Like the Doctor Dances is just an absolutely amazing episode. And the Are You My Mommy and everything that goes into that, like, oh my goodness, I wanted more of that. And to not get more was heartrending. So to see him come back for Big Finish, which I think they're on the third series now of his, was absolutely phenomenal. I'm so incredibly happy that we've got that. But who does it for you?
Yeah, no, ditto. Like I said, Matt Smith is one of my favorites. You know, I watched it since Eccleston, and I saw the entirety of David Tennant. But yeah, no, I love. You know, a lot of people always say David Tennant, and David Tennant is really good, but Matt Smith was just able to capture that I'm a young man in an old man's body, or an old man in a young man's body, and just it's so good. And he just captures that so well, and I so want him to go the Big Finish so badly and just give us 5,000 new eras.
The voice actor who does the Matt Smith stuff, the impersonator,
yes, he does a really good job.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay. For you?
I don't. He sounds like Matt Smith doing an impersonation of himself.
Okay.
It's all kind of one note. Like he can't do the rage or the deeper aspects of Matt Smith's characterization of the Doctor. He can sound like Matt Smith, and that's it.
Fair. That is, I'll give you that, but I'm just happy. But yeah, I'll agree. It's a shallow, stand-in for the real thing.
For the real thing, yeah. But I mean, that's the way I feel about like a lot of the people who have kind of stepped in to fill, like Fraser Hines could be the second Doctor, but they keep having other people come in to voice the second Doctor in Big Finish, and it frustrates the crap out of me because I never know, because like they had his son who is a Troughton. He kind of sounds like his dad, but he doesn't. He's unable to nail a second Doctor, and so that frustrates me. And then you've got Tim Treloar, who does the third Doctor, and I think Tim Treloar does a fantastic job. But the guy who does, oh gosh, now you're asking me to do names. He plays the current Lethbridge Stewart. He does a better third Doctor than Tim Treloar.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Hold on, I have to look it up. Lethbridge Stewart, Big Finish, right?
Yes.
And then I'm trying to remember who this voice actor is. And I'm sure Twainy could tell me.
Twainy, we summon you.
I need your help! Because it was, of course, Nicholas Courtney, who passed away, sadly.
Yeah.
And it's the third Doctor Adventures.
Same as Elizabeth Sladen.
Yeah, they've recast Liz Shaw and Elizabeth Sladen.
Liz too, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's not Nicholas Courtney. Why would a Google search not tell me who this is? I'm
What
gonna feel
was?
so dumb.
Let me try.
John Coleshaw. It's John Coleshaw.
Got you. There you go.
I don't know. So okay, so we're gonna get a little controversial here because why not? It's just some us and some close knit people. So it was funny because a while ago, I'm talking years ago, Matt Smith went on record and was just like, "Hey, they haven't called me," and then Nicholas Briggs went, "That's not true," which
Really,
means
I have
they
not
did
heard
call
that.
him, and he said no. But Matt Smith keeps saying he's open to coming back, but he hasn't come back.
Okay, so yeah, so is it? I don't know who to put the blame on that then. Is that Matt's
I'm
fault then for?
I'm gonna put that on Matt.
Yeah.
Because it was funny. Tom Baker said no for years.
Oh yeah, he wanted like purple hair and all sorts of weird stuff in his doctor.
Purple hair?
Oh yeah, yeah. He wanted when he was trying to get him back, he was like, okay, I'll only come back, but the doctor needs to be like, you know, like 700 years younger and purple hair and all this weird crazy stuff.
I've never heard any of that.
Oh, I'll look it up and send it to you. It's
That's
but
interesting.
but since then he has mellowed, and thus we have, you know,
More Fourth
but
Doctor?
yes, but that's why when they jumped on it, that's why they jumped on it so hard, and we have 14 seasons now of audio Tom Baker, which honestly, in my opinion, you have your hot take on third and on Third Doctor and stuff like that. But I think the early Fourth Doctor audios were could be better. I think they could have been written better, but Tom Baker is
Really?
always fantastic. Yeah.
So here's my take on Big Finish lately. Whenever they launch a new series, I think the quality is amazing. Or whenever they like do something new with Doctor Who, is really good. As it gets longer in the tooth, I find them to become more derivative, more contrived, and stuff like that. And I find the quality diminishes. So like Time War like was hard for me to get through after I think the third season. The Fourth Doctor after the sixth and seventh season, I was kind of done. Let's see, War Master. So far, I've only done 2 or 3 War Masters, but like those
box sets.
still scare the pants off of me because
oh yeah,
he's an absolute monster of an actor.
absolutely yes.
Which his name escapes me. And it shouldn't because I love that actor.
That I could find easily.
He's an older gentleman. Say what?
Jacoby.
Oh yeah, Derek Jacob. Is it Jacoby or Jacoby? I don't know. But he's amazing.
I call it Jacoby, but yeah.
Missy was kind of old hat after one season. Just a lot of these things start out really good. River Song, after about the 4th or 5th season, they were really pushing that one.
Yeah, I could see it.
Stranded was terrible. Stranded was not good.
Stranded. Really, I remember you loving Stranded 1 through 3, but then saying Stranded 4 wasn't that good.
Well, Stranded 1 through 3, I kept thinking they were going to do something really cool with it, and they never did. They just did weird stuff with it. And it didn't feel it felt like they were really trying too hard to give the 8th Doctor a series and continue the storyline with their companion. This has turned into a Big Finish just chat.
It's fine.
But it felt like they were trying to force that trio in the TARDIS too much, and it got kind of odd.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they wanted to do the Third Doctor era, but with the 8th Doctor, and and semi-stranded and yet not, and yeah, and I feel like they sometimes have really really cool ideas, but then they just fumble on the execution sometimes, but you know, I still think when they are good and
when they're good, they're
all
good.
Oh yeah, like you know,
I
like
still
that
say
whole
the first 100 of the
Yep.
monthly adventures, which is a mix of the 7th, the 6th, the 8th, and the 5th Doctor, are
Yes.
worth the money. The bad thing about Big Finish is it's behind a paywall, and
Yeah.
it's per
Hard to
episode,
keep
per
up to.
adventure. Now, the first 100 tend to be like you can get them super discounted.
Or they're on Spotify, you know.
Are they on Spotify?
Yes, they are. Yep. Yep.
That's very good. I'm a dinosaur and I don't have a Spotify subscription, so
Yeah, if you have a Spotify subscription, I think like at least the first 50, and then some of the Lucy Miller Ace Doctor adventures are on there too.
that's where I first started with Big Finish, was because I wanted to jump into Eighth Doctor and explore him more.
But more in a New Who format.
But more in a New Who format, and I started there, and that was very interesting because that was early Big Finish where they hadn't quite mastered the audio drama, where like because at least with the it's Red Rocket Rising.
Yep. Blood of the Daleks. Yep.
Blood of the Daleks. There'd be a couple of calling out of, look over there at that window. Let's go look at the Daleks, and it's just like, you're trying really hard.
Well, they were doing the Doctor Who for like 10 years since then, but I think they were still getting used to maybe the New Who format, maybe then. But
they were trying to speed things up.
Yeah. I think that might be the issue there, but I still loved it. However, I think one of the standouts for me in terms of like just their long form storytelling, which sadly they don't do as much because they're trying to just get people to be like, oh, you can come in here and you can have all these. There's too many jumping on points, I think now.
No, I mean that's what you get for 25 years worth of just nonstop audio recordings.
Yeah. But the Forge arc, Project Twilight to Death in the Family is fantastic.
Yeah, you're talking about Evelyn.
Yep, Evelyn, and then
Hex. Yep,
and
okay, so you're a real big fan of the 7th Doctor monthly adventures.
6 and 7. Yes.
6 and 7. Okay.
Yeah. I take it you're not.
It's not that I don't mind them. It was just there was the whole relationship with Hex and Ace and 7 that was very tumultuous in the Big Finish stuff.
Yes, it can be. Yeah, and that's part of his era because his plan. That's why his in the screen. That's why his suit gets slowly darker because they had this whole master plan, and now they're trying to kind of tweak it a little bit and make it accessible in the audio format now. Like that's why Ghost Lights is a very like I think that was one of the last things they did. I think they did Survival first, and that premiered last. But I think Ghost Light was one of the last things they filmed. I could be wrong, but
I thought, and it's funny, nobody talks about this with Big Finish. One of the very first, I think 5, was a 7th Doctor adventure where it's Ace, and then it's got David Tennant in it and Paul McGann.
Yes,
and it's set during Nazi Germany.
Yes, yep.
And,
David Tennant before he was a 10th Doctor.
Yeah, it's Colditz, and
yep, love that one.
That's the adventure, and I thought that one was not only ambitious but masterfully executed. I had to listen to it twice to fully appreciate it because I didn't like it the first time. The second time, I absolutely loved it. I've probably done the first 50 Big Finishes like 3 times.
Okay, so then what do you think of Zagreus since you said 50?
I think it's interesting. It's a jumbled mess. They were trying to do an anniversary thing for Doctor Who when they weren't doing an anniversary for Doctor Who because it was off the air.
It's a love letter to Doctor Who, but a very messy love letter, and they tried to just put in way too much. They tried to put in, for people that don't know what Zagreus is, it was the 40th anniversary, and then they decided, like, okay, let's put in every living actor of Doctor Who that has worked with Big Finish up to this point. Let's stuff them all in here and make it 4 hours long.
Yeah.
No joke. Yeah, like that. Literally how long it is.
It's interesting. and it leads to arguably one of my least favorite Eighth Doctor arcs, which is the negative space arc. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
You know why? Because what comes after the Grizz is Shuzo, or however you say that.
Kariz?
No, but before that, they have this other one that's written by the same person that did Chimes of Midnight.
Oh, okay.
And Shuzo. Oh, that is some of the best Big Finish ever, because they really dive into the audio drama, and they're in this like really weird linear space, and it's something that can only be done in audio drama. It's absolutely fantastic, but everything else, is mid.
Yeah, it's kind of mid. Although they're bringing him back. They're bringing Kariz back.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was happily surprised.
Are they like jumping back in time to do that?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. They're doing the 50th anniversary of the Santorans, and then they just decided like, hey, you're willing to come back? Yeah, sure.
Okay, fair enough. Although it's funny because what a lot of people, you can either agree or disagree here. When they filmed Paul McGann's regeneration scene for the 50th anniversary, Paul McGann's doctor mentions all of the audio companions that he had, making them canon.
Yes, I was so happy. He even mentioned chess,
Yeah.
Forgive me, he says, that I thought that was a great line. I don't know if he just ad-libbed that or what, but it was fantastic.
So those particular, because unless Disney does the thing, we are not going to get a lot more live action Paul McGann. That is not guaranteed. The spinoff series is not promised, but it's
rumored.
But it's rumored, but I don't know.
No,
how are you feeling about the current state of Doctor Who with the Whoniverse? Let's pull out a Big Finish for a little bit.
And with the bi-generation and all that.
Well, let's keep it spoiler free.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, with the Whoniverse and stuff like that. I like it. I think it's too early to say right now, but I think it has potential to be good. I'm a little mixed on. I love 15's first appearance in the 60th specials, but his opening Christmas special episode, I'm a little mixed on, because just to not to go into huge spoilers, but it's basically he's tracking down this entity that is giving this person bad luck, and they're at the nightclub, and he meets her, and he grabs her gin and tonic and places it back, and he's like, hey, you almost dropped this, and she's like, oh, thank you, I was never this clumsy before. He's like, no, it's much worse than that. All right, Merry Christmas, see ya. I'm like, no, the doctor should just stay by her and make sure she's okay. But no, he just, but I don't know, that's just me.
I don't know. I think we're going to be leaning more into fantasy and stuff like that. I would love to get an Eighth Doctor spin-off miniseries. Even if we're in the Time War, I would be okay with that, because you could easily get away with more Time War Doctor, or not War Doctor, but more Time War Eighth Doctor, and just build off of that minisode that we got for the 50th. That could be easily done. And I think the fans would absolutely eat that up. We're getting is it a Silurian spinoff?
Yeah, that's what people were hearing, that there was going to, Silurian, yeah. No, and then there was also talk of a Sea Devil.
Sea Devils, that's right it is.
A Sea Devil spinoff, but then
they're the same thing. And if you go classic Who, Sea Devils are just a different type of Silurian.
Fair enough. And it could be it could be big. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in what they were kind of giving that backdoor pilot for a new unit spinoff. I think that would be cool. So
I would definitely be cool with a new unit spinoff. Like I said earlier, one of my favorite eras of Doctor Who is Jon Pertwee. So if we could explore the new scientific advisor
His
is
daughter.
fantastic. I loved her wheelchair in the 60th specials. I thought that was really, really cool.
And she plays Hitty in the Big Finish too, who's also a
Yeah.
wheelchair
Did you
doctor. I
know
thought
that
that was
there
cool.
was a YouTuber who was responsible for when they
Yep.
flipped out Theres? When they flip out the wheelchair ramp
Yep.
to enter the TARDIS, like he wrote Russell T Davies, and it's called the Theres ramp.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Which is just super cool. I love that.
Yes, I agree.
I've been following Theres for years. So
Yeah, no, he's a cool guy. I love him. And I didn't even know that he was. So but yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, no, I think the more things that he can do for that is really cool. I was a little bit concerned with the Davros because of but so long as they don't like ruin the timeline, it'll be fine.
we're not going to get into the controversies or anything like that. Let's
Yeah,
keep it
I
clean.
agree.
We don't have enough time to get into those
No, we don't. We could be here
controversies.
all day.
We could be here all day, and
But yeah, my point was that I'm fine with it so long as the timeline doesn't get too messed up.
So I'm strange, and I watched that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That little actor who was throwing out all the names, I was like, he looks so familiar. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, I know this guy. It's because he was a contestant on Taskmaster. And he was absolutely hilarious. And the whole time I was watching that minisode, or the Children in Need episode that they did with Davros, I was just like, I know this guy. Like, and then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, he's from Taskmaster. He's ridiculous. It was fantastic.
Oh, I'll have to look that up then. The other thing it's not, I could take it or leave it, but I'm also kind of like they're running it a little bit too long. The gravity joke is like,
we'll see how long that goes. They have to correct it eventually. Even if it's off screen, like I didn't like that. That feels a little tongue in cheek, and the fact that they still do it.
If it was for one episode, I would have been fine with it. But the fact that it's been like going on now for like the last, I'm like, okay, is this just gonna be a thing now for this whole era? I'm just a little worried, but
I don't know.
It's small things overall.
It's it's like flavor text, I guess we could say that it adds a little flavor text. I'm interested to see where Doctor Who goes, because unfortunately, I was not the biggest fan of Jodie's era, which is 13.
Nothing against her. I think she's fantastic. I
thought her last episode really showcased what she could have been if she'd gotten proper writing.
Yes, and I think the showrunner just did not, because I was like, where was all of this when it was fantastic. And once again, you get Paul McGann and all the classic doctors back, and I think that's great. And I love, the little interactions between, past doctors and companions, and so good.
Yeah. No, I that's the first time we've seen Sylvester McCoy return.
Yeah. Well, unless you count the Five-ish Doctors, but yes.
Well, no, I don't count the Five-ish Doctor because it was non-canon, and it was
brilliant.
I mean, yeah, it was brilliant, but it had nothing to do with on-screen Doctor Who. That was behind-the-scenes antics of these actors trying to get on the show.
I still call it. It is the unofficial best anniversary of Doctor Who.
Colin Baker was in that one too, as well, wasn't he? So that's Colin Baker's first time back to the show, period.
Yeah, unless you count Big Finish stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and he did really well. There was a while, because for a long time I've been getting the Blu-rays as they release the classic seasons, and behind the scenes I was worried about Colin Baker because he's got these kind of tremors that like comes with getting older. I mean, he's in his 80s. Colin Baker's up there. And I was concerned for his health for a little while, and he showed none of that when on screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's just been The Sixth Doctor, I think, has had the biggest glow up since he left the air. Period. Like, I mean, he is very beloved. I think he's ranked one of the favorite. Yep, Brenton, we are talking some Who. He is literally one of the most beloved Big Finish doctors there is.
Oh yes, for good reason. Yes, and especially the Evelyn and
Oh my God, Evelyn
his
was
art.
so
Yes.
good.
Yeah,
You
it's a
know Maggie
tragedy.
Smith was in the very first
Yes.
Big Finish production.
Yes. Yep.
She plays that jailer on the island. I thought that was hilarious. When I realized,
and that's where I was when you said that they were still learning audio drama. I'm like, go back to that, and then go back to the stuff before Big Finish.
to
To
be fair, Call of the Sirens is a hot mess.
Yes,
it's not. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's a beautiful mess, but it's a mess.
It's a beautiful mess, but it's messy.
Yes, and yeah, the first 10, they were still figuring things out, but but there's some diamonds in the rough, like the Maggie Smith's, her first outing with Sixth Doctor was number 6 or 7 or something like that.
I would love Doctor Who on screen to just get an old companion like that.
Yes, yeah, I agree. The classic Doctor Who went for maybe some more daring things, like they got a robot dog. They got they try to do some different things with some alien companions, but with classic Who, they just do random girl in her 20s or coming out of college, lost and trying to find her way, and it's sad that we don't have enough more variety.
Well, so with Donna's grandfather, Bernard Crimmins, R.I.P. But he was one of my favorite New Who companions. When we're talking about Rory's dad, when Rory's dad's in the TARDIS, it's pure magic. I think they are missing out on having a truly older companion in 50s, 60s, 70s. Do it for a season. I don't care.
That's the one thing where Jodie's Doctor, because you had Graham, and he was a slightly older. He was good, but he's not perfect. But that's not overloaded by bad writing. Yeah.
The whole problem with what I think made Evelyn special is Graham was older, but she was by herself. She was the companion at the time.
Yes.
When we talk about Graham, that dynamic, it was a very crowded TARDIS. It was the most crowded it had been since 1980.
That is true.
We had Tegan, we had Nyssa, and we had Adric. At that time, it was a very full TARDIS, which is again what suffered with Jodie's era, and also
they forgot
again that era suffers from bad writing. So whenever Graham would be vulnerable and talk about his cancer and his fears of the cancer, the Doctor would just claim social awkwardness, which isn't how the Doctor would react to that, and just shrug it off. So we never really got to connect with Graham because he was supposed to be this foil for his supposed grandson that he had adopted. And then he's more worried about sucking up to the kid than being a companion. And so I just don't think Graham quite fits the mold of what I'm suggesting.
Very wise. Yeah, because Elizabeth that I am sorry. What was the companion? Maggie.
Maggie Smith?
Maggie Smith, yes.
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Thank you. Sorry. Evelyn, was very headstrong and very much I am coming with you. We are going to have hot chocolate and cake, and we are going to have a magical, wonderful time.
Yeah.
And
it was fantastic. So yeah, Ten did hang out with Sarah Smith, but that was more of a celebration and a backdoor pilot to the Sarah Jane Adventures. Sarah Jane hails from the classic era, heavily from the classic era. She was, you could technically say that she was a 4 Doctor companion because basically she started out with the third Doctor. She left the TARDIS with the fourth Doctor. She reemerges into Doctor Who with the 10th Doctor, and then in the Sarah Jane adventures, the 11th Doctor shows up.
Yes. Yeah, and then but then Sarah Jane Smith is so important. But I really wish more people would look at Maggie Smith / Evelyn, because I think she's right up there with Sarah Jane as one of the best companions, because she is the one that basically housebroke Six, because he came off very abrasive and prickly
they
stuff
used
like that.
her to rehab the Sixth Doctor,
and she was like a firm but loving hand to get him to like get out of his head, basically.
There is so much great classic Who to talk about, Breton. I would suggest starting with either, if you're unsure about the eras, either start with the third Doctor or the fourth Doctor. And then if you like those, you can then explore around in there.
Just so I'm wondering, what coat are you talking about? Are you talking like there are a multitude of coats for classic Doctor Who?
There's really only, well, there's two big coats. There's the trench coat that the fourth Doctor wears, which is very popular, and then there's the Technicolor Dream coat that Six wears.
Yeah, or I because I'm classic, I'm like going like, well, maybe he means the fifth Doctor with the cricket and the asparagus, but
nobody likes the cricket Doctor and the asparagus, but it was celery. It was celery.
Celery, yes, but it had a purpose. It turned
because he had some dumb allergy. It turns purple in the presence of a certain gas that I have an allergy to. Take the celery off your jacket.
Yeah,
most underrated Doctor. So I'm gonna say Peter Capaldi.
If we're counting on screen, yeah, I would say I still have to. Peter Capaldi, I get worried about because Matt Smith is so special to me, and then we go like, oh, I'm getting William Hartnell vibes, and I don't like Grumpy, but yeah, as it went on, yes, he.
Are you kidding? You can't beat Peter Capaldi riding in on a tank, just shredding a guitar.
Oh yeah, that's where it goes good. But yeah, every Doctor has their regeneration hiccups and working their stuff.
I would say Capaldi was super underrated. On screen, I think Tom Baker mostly deserved the dislike that his Doctor got, especially with his debut episodes, where he is just incredibly violent and cowardly and abrasive. Those first few adventures, like the Twin Dilemma, is a very, very rough serial. And then his second series is better. Trial of a Time Lord was fairly good. But so I think he deserves most of his stuff. I do like Peter Davison. I actually fairly enjoy Peter Davison. So he's fairly underrated. And then I think Sylvester McCoy has a great vibe, and he's a really good actor, but I don't think he got particularly good writing. I'm sorry, Survival is weird.
Oh yeah, no, totally. The cat, yeah,
and like Candyman is a very strange. Paradise Towers, I think, is where Candyman is. Paradise Towers is a very strange episode with a very strange villain.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. When I say I like Sylvester McCoy, I'm talking about his.
I've met Sylvester McCoy.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, he seems lovely, and he's a great storyteller. And I want and I love that he can play the spoons and all that. Yeah, no, I think he's great. It's funny that you mentioned that you think 12 is so underrated because 6 is so abrasive, but. From my memory of Deep Breaths, which is regeneration episode, he leaves Clora. He's like, I'm gonna run away now, and maybe I'm misremembering it.
What do you mean? Oh, so okay. I'm talking like 12 just leaves. He's got a very, very strange, but he's also got the moment of "come back, you beautiful, big, beautiful, sexy woman," as he's chasing a T-Rex across the rooftops. Like, he's also got
no,
that.
it's good. Yes.
6 strangles Perry.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like Peter Capaldi is the modern day like amalgamation of 1 and 6. You know, in my head at least.
Well, with a healthy dash of 11.
Yes, to the point where they have to get 11 to come back. Like please watch him. He's really good. We swear. You know, as he calls her on the phone. But yeah,
I would say Eccleston. People like Eccleston. He actually got a lot of love during when he was on screen. A lot of people were unwilling. The reason I say Capaldi is a lot of people were unwilling to give Capaldi a chance due to his age. And it's funny because he was as old as William Hartnell was when he was cast. They were the same age.
Yeah, it doesn't work for the modern audience, unfortunately, to the point where even my like older father, who should love it, you would think, it's like, oh, he's way too old. I don't like it. I'm just like, just give him a chance. Just give him a chance.
I remember I watched live the live because for Capaldi they did a live announcement, and I had a water bottle in my hand and I chucked it across the room. I was like, "Don't be Capaldi! Don't be Capaldi!" Capaldi walks out and I chucked a water bottle. And he won me over by the time he regenerated.
Yeah, and I did like that they tied in, his one appearance, as a non-doctor. So it actually is very Colin Baker, because Colin Baker was, an actor in one of Peter Davison's serials. Before he became the Doctor, just like
you're talking about Arc of Infinity.
Arc of Infinity, and then the Pompeii episode with David Tennant and Capaldi within that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he was also in Torchwood.
Oh, yep, that too. Yep. But they specifically called that face back. Like, why did I put on this face again? They specifically call back that Pompeii episode.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to love about Doctor Who. It's a very complex show. We could literally sit here and talk about Doctor Who lore for 5 days and still not get all the way through it. But I've got a lot of love for this series. I'm excited to see what the future holds. And yeah, there's just so much to love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you excited for most? What do you want to see this season?
Oh, this season?
2 months.
2 months? Is that when it's coming up?
I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking it comes out in April.
Okay. Well, then that brings to mind, did you hear the news story about the companion?
Yeah, I'm not giving that any sort of smoke until we see her leave.
Yeah, well, and even then, it's like, some companions only last a season, whatever. But
some companions don't even last 3 episodes.
That's more club, but yes, very true. But yeah, I would, like I said, more fantasy. I would just like to see the Doctor just, what I have hope that this Doctor is a much more empathetic and caring Doctor. I just want to see that more of that warmth kind of come out more, and just more, because lately we've had like, this regeneration, I'm odd and awkward and socially awkward. I want more. I want a more
well-rounded,
extroverted, bombastic Doctor. Yeah,
I think we are definitely going to get that this time around. I think Shudigatwa isn't who I would have cast, but at the same time, like, I wanted Michael Sheen. I wanted Michael Sheen. That's who I wanted. I wanted an older Doctor who was friends with David Tennant. I wanted a multi-Doctor story where they could come in and bicker at each other. That was my dream.
Yeah, I could see it. But who plays the villain in their multi-Doctor story?
Which one?
Neil Patrick Harris. I think he played a fantastic villain. I think
you're talking about the Celestial Toymaker.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm excited. They're actually animating the Celestial Toymaker right now.
Oh yes, yeah. I've heard mixed things about the animation on that, but yeah, I'm excited, and yeah, and I hope that Neil Patrick Harris comes back as a Celestial Toymaker because he rocked it.
Yeah, we shall definitely see if that happens. But that is about the time that we have, because, well, we could keep going, but if we don't stop now, we're never going to. But I will reiterate what I said at the beginning of this live show. Please check out Zach the Storytelling Dragon's channel. I do have it linked in the description box down below. He is fantastic. He is a dear friend, and you never know. Maybe we'll come back here and we'll talk a little bit more Doctor Who. But that's all I really got for you today, guys. Till next time. Peace out. Stay magical.